Push Scott.
What's up, guys? It is Teach Me Tuesday, and we are back in the building. We're gonna get right into it. Have you ever found a perfect home only to lose it to another buyer? Many
Mm.
buyers think the only way to win in a competitive market is to offer tens of thousands over asking price, but that's not always true. Today, We're going to be talking about how to make your offer stand out without blowing your budget. All right, guys, let's get right into it, man. Is offering over asking price always necessary? We're gonna start off with that one.
Oh, I love that question. Love, love, love. To me, I mean, I know I'm not a real estate agent, so I'm definitely going to lean on you and your expertise when I'm not there because I know you work with both buyers and sellers, and so you probably have pros and cons, depending on the circumstance and things like that, the context to the scenario and what's going on.
Hmm.
But in my opinion, I feel like it may not often be necessary because there's a lot of other factors that you have to think on or think about. From a lending perspective, the number one that jumps out to me is appraisal, right? Will the house appraise? Like you offer
Mm,
these tens of thousands of dollars over
right,
asking price. Are you really, that's a tongue twister. Are you really willing to pay, the difference if it doesn't appraise?
right.
Or something like that. So, guys, tell me your perspective. Gavin, what do you think? And then we jump to you.
Yeah, I mean, offering over asking price is. I don't think it's necessary. In not all aspects. Now, hey, I'm a true believer. If it's your dream home, if it's the home you gotta have, you can't lose this home. You got to do what you got to do to secure it. If you can look at your budget and say I'm willing to go $10,000 over the listing price because hey, this one might go quick, or this one's very desirable, or this popped up in that neighborhood that I gotta live in. I gotta live in Ramsgate. I
Hmm.
gotta live in wherever it may be. Um,
Right.
then yes, sometimes it is necessary. But on a typical, buyer, first time home buyer that's out there, somebody who's really needing to be budget conscious, no, you need to do based off of you need to make your offers based on what you can afford.
So,
Mm,
Wilma, the question for you, like, how do you guide and or gauge your clients
mm.
into if they should offer a little more, right? And I guess what does that number look like? I know we jumped down and said $10,000. Is that kind of like the standard that people start at that high of a amount over list price, or is it $1,000? $1. Think about prices right. Like, is it something
Right,
that you
right.
could just do incremental something? What do you think?
Well, it's always dependent on the situation. It's always. I feel like I'm a coach, right? We got a game plan, guys. This is what we got to do. All right. Think about it like this: if you going into a situation and it's multiple offers, all right, that's a different scenario than you putting in an offer on a house that's been sitting for 3 months,
Yeah,
right? Okay. A house just hits the market. House just hits the market. One of the things I look at, they look at it on Zillow. Look at how many times it's viewed, right? Look at how many times it's saved. You and 1,000 other people saved that house,
right.
right? It's going to be very competitive. So we have to tailor make our offer predicated on the situation, not just for the seller, okay, but for you as well to make sure we are still in budget. All right. For I'm gonna give an example. I always ask my clients, I say, hey, what do you need? All right.
Mm.
Do you need closing costs? All right. Is it or don't need closing costs? All right. Well, that's a different scenario. Because if you do need closing costs, this is a free one. If y'all watching out there, this is free. All right. If you do need closing costs, we might can add it to the price point. For instance, in prime example, $200,000 house, you need $5,000 in closing costs. Let's offer 205. Seller gets what they want. They still net the 200. You still get what you want, which is the 5,000 in closing. We win above asking price, but guess what? You still get what you need for closing. The seller gets what they need as far as net.
So
So
here's
that's
my
the
question:
scenario.
where does comps play a part in that? Do
Hmm?
is comps taken it like comps like comparables? Are they taken into consideration when you're thinking about going above, asking price or something like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that's why it's so important to have an agent that knows the market in that area to kind of let you know, hey, this house is overpriced, house is underpriced, house is overvalued, house is undervalued. So they know, so they're not just throwing it out, throwing an offer out there. If I do see a scenario, it's like, man, that house is way overpriced, guys. I will advise the client. I say, hey, I don't think we should go over on this one because it may not appraise.
Mhm.
But one thing could, oh, I will say this one thing appraisers do look at is how competitive a situation was when they put it on the market. A
Mhm.
lot of things. One of the things I've learned is when if I'm the listing agent and an appraiser comes and as I say, man, we had about 6 or 7 offers on this house. It was competitive. They will can take that in consideration. I don't know how that affects the value, I guess the demand for the house, but it does. It's good for that appraiser to know, hey, this home had multiple offers above ask price, so that might help the appraisal. So
That's a
yeah.
good. So, Gavin, my question to you is so, like, how can buyers determine their maximum budget before making an offer? Because a lot of times I know people reach out to us and, let's say we pre-approve them for 250 and the house is at 260 or 265. And they be like, hey, Gavin, hey, LaShawn, is that they max? How can we squeeze a little, squeeze a little more margin
A
in
little
that
bit.
pre-approval?
It's just,
What's your
Well,
strategy? What are you doing with
well, yeah, we run into this often.
ah,
I can't say it's more times than few, but quite
yeah,
often. When
yeah,
it
yeah.
comes to making sure that they 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 don't exceed their maximum budget. I mean, you got to have a firm, I think, maximum payment amount which you don't want to exceed in terms of your mortgage. So knowing what you're pre-approved for, knowing what that estimated monthly cost based on the area you want to live in, based on the type of property you're looking to buy, is key and very important. So when you are out looking, you can identify and say, okay, yeah, this falls in that price point. This is the same home type that I was quoted based, what my payment's gonna look like. And if I go any higher, or if I choose to max out, then this is the ramifications for that. This is going to put my monthly payment, $100 over what I'm comfortable with paying. So you kind of got to be you got to be firm. I know we always say be flexible in this
Mm-hmm.
in your home buying process, but you have to be firm when it comes to your budget. If you know you can't afford it, don't put yourself in that crisis.
Yeah,
I
Right.
yeah.
mean, I know it's easier said than done, but remember that there's always going to be more houses. Houses are going to come on the market. They're going to
Mm-hmm.
go. But
Mm-hmm.
if it is that I mean, you're going to come across that one that you just can't lose.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to sit down and have that hard conversation with yourself. Can I stop eating out for 2 3 week for can I only eat out once a week, and maybe I can compensate for that additional $100 that I really need to cover this additional cost of my mortgage. So yeah,
That's
that's what I would
that's
say.
fair. That's really good. One of the other things I would add is I know Wilma, you mentioned that it's very important, and I totally agree that buyers, sellers, prospective buyers, prospective sellers, make sure they're working with reputable people who
Right.
understand the market, people who understand what's going on. Same thing on the lending side, because the role that a lender plays when you're making an offer is crucial as well, because we want to make sure that we're reviewing your income, we're reviewing your assets, we're really looking at that credit report to kind of see, what strategy can we come up with? Can you pay something off? Can you get a little more money? Can we
Mm.
get some, help from the seller to buy the rate down to kind of make the numbers work? And I
Oh.
think having a team like that behind you will definitely serve you well when it
Mm.
comes to how to be very competitive when you're in a situation and you need to be competitive to try to win the deal. That lender and realtor relationship, that team that's behind you, to me is so, 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 so crucial. And so
Right.
before we wrap up for today, we want to just hit on the last question is what mistakes do we see, right? Buyers make, when they're trying to be competitive or whatever, because sometimes I've saw, and I've been kind of going back and forth um, with, with a realtor before, like, I know we talked about asking for more, or going above listing price to try to win the deal. How do you feel about going under? Everybody wants the deal, like, oh, let's offer 10,000 below, or 20,000 below, or 40,000. Like, what do y'all think about offering less? Is that a strategy? Is that, do you think that that's a good thing people should do?
I'm sure Will might got all kind of
Stories.
stories.
I got so many thoughts right now. I'm just trying to bring it. What I'm trying to do is bring it home, okay? Because what I don't want people to think is that um I want you to just spend more money, right?
Mm.
Because I guess there's this stigma that, hey, well, they want me to offer more so I can my commission to be higher. No, no, listen. I have seen so many times where buyers kick themselves because they didn't go all in like they should have. Okay. On a house that they've been watching, that they've been wanting, this house makes everything else make sense, commute to work, everything else. And you gotta understand this is an investment. Okay. This is an investment. And I feel like what I don't want you to do is kick yourself because you did not seize the opportunity that was before you, but you try to get a deal when you're competing. Okay,
Mhm.
it's in certain scenarios that works. Not all scenarios where you can offer 30, $40,000 less and someone takes that offer. It doesn't work like that all the time.
Right.
But in a competitive scenario, you have to be aggressive. Okay, that's it. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, love
No,
it.
Mhm,
I agree with that. Wholeheartedly. I mean, um, other than making those low offer mistakes,
mhm,
sometimes because sometimes it is a mistake. But I too have as a realtor. This is a real true story. I remember when I was helping my aunt purchase her current home,
mhm, mhm,
and we was talking about how what we're gonna go in at, and we wanted to ask for certain things. We wanted solar panels on the house to be paid off. We wanted a certain amount of closing costs. And my aunt really was like, yeah, I really want to go in. I think it was like $15,000 lower, than listing price, and we still needed or wanted these other odds and ends. I was like, I don't know. But she was firm. She believed in it, and just so and behold, it worked out. Like, I mean, the situation fit the bill. The situation was this person wasn't benefiting from the sale of their home. They were moving. Their company was moving them, relocating
mm,
them, and
mm,
they weren't worried about. They just needed the house to sell. They weren't
right.
worried about the proceeds, or whatever, because I guess it was going to their company and not to them per se. So they was like, as long as it covers the mortgage, they're fine.
Wow.
And we were able to get an awesome deal, going in at a lower. The market
Right.
supported the listing price, but shoot our shot, and we
That's it.
made it. Swish.
Yeah. Like you said, and Gavin, all scenarios, right?
Right.
It just depends on the scenario.
Mhm.
If it's a competitive scenario, $15,000 less probably might not work. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But
Exactly.
True.
someone motivated to move, motivated to sell, hey guys, everything's on the table at that
Right.
point. So, yep.
So good deal, guys. Thank you. So once again, guys, so the goal isn't just to go under contract or just, do whatever you have to do just to get in the home. Is you want to make sure that you're being competitive, that there's a strategy in place, that you're working with reputable people that can help assist and guide, or what Will might say, coach you, because he's a coach, help coach you, to the finish line. So guys, if you guys definitely have any questions, if you guys want the blueprint, want the game plan, to home ownership, feel free to reach out to any one of us on any one of our social media platforms, and we will definitely see you guys next week with another topic. You guys have a great one.
All right, later.